My name is Pam Kleinpeter. I'm the library director, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how you select keywords and use Boolean operators when you're searching for things online. So the first thing that we're going to talk about are keywords. And you might be wondering to yourself, what are keywords? The definition of keywords is that they are words that are used in an information retrieval system like a database or an online search engine to indicate the content of a document. So the keywords are what something is about. And why are those important? Well, one of the things that makes them important is the difference between humans talking to each other and humans trying to communicate with a computer. If you have two people who are talking to each other, they do it in natural language, which is what I'm using now. We talk back and forth, we understand how natural language works. That changes when you try to talk to a computer. When you're doing a search online, you are essentially attempting to talk to a computer. And when you do that, you can't use natural language because computers don't understand natural language. So what you have to do is you have to rephrase your search, which we sometimes refer to as a query. You have to rephrase it and put it into a format that a computer can understand. And one of the ways that you do that, one of the first steps, is to figure out what you're talking about and put it into keywords. So there are a couple of things that you can do when you're selecting those keywords. The first thing you'll want to do is be specific. If you are looking for a specific person, a specific place, a specific book, a specific time period, be as exact as you can with your keywords. So if you're looking for something that happened in 1990, 1990 is going to be one of your keywords. You should also use official words and scientific names. Just because in America we call soccer soccer doesn't mean that everyone calls soccer soccer, because in fact the rest of the world outside of the United States refers to it as football. And when they talk about American football, it's what we refer to as just regular football because we live in America. So you'll want to make sure that you're using the specific exact official words. The other thing you'll want to do is you'll want to be brief. You don't want to type an entire search question into a Google search box. What you'll want to do is pick out the 2 to 5 essential keywords and use those in a search. But keep in mind that your first search may not always get you where you need to go. You need to be persistent. You may need to do multiple searches. You may need to revise the keywords that you've chosen. As you search, you may find better keywords. You may need to combine the keywords in different ways to find exactly what you're looking for. So let's take an example. Here's a search question. What movie from 2002 made the most money? And there are really 3 essential key concepts, keywords that we can pull from this. And the first is movie. The second is the year it was made, which is 2002. And the third is this concept of making the most money. So if we were to revise those, we would use movie, or we might even want to use film because it's a more official, exact word. We can keep 2002 as is because it is the exact year that we're looking for. But when it comes to this concept of making the most money, when it comes to films, there's a word for, or a phrase for that. And that phrase is box office. So instead of typing in what movie from 2002 made the most money into Google, what you would need to type in would be movie or film, 2002, and then the phrase box office. And there's some other things that we can add to this, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So finding your keywords is the first step. The next step is figuring out how to combine those keywords using Boolean operators. And odds are you have no idea what Boolean operators are. So Boolean operators are words that connect search terms or keywords to create a logical phrase that a database can understand. And those are important because it goes back to this language barrier that we have when we're talking to computers. Humans use natural language and computers don't. So the first step is identifying the keywords. The second step is putting those keywords together using Boolean operators. And when you're trying to understand what Boolean operators are and how they work, it's helpful to review and relate those to what you might already be familiar with, and that's mathematical operators. So if I gave you a set of numbers and I asked you to give me an answer, it would probably be difficult for you to do that because I have not given you enough information. When you think about it, computers in very basic terms are highly sophisticated calculators, but they need instructions to do those calculations. So you can't really get mad at a computer when it doesn't find what you're looking for if you have not given it enough information to find what you're looking for. So that's where mathematical operators come in. And now that you're seeing them, you probably understand what they are. Mathematical operators are things like the addition sign, the subtraction sign, the multiplication sign, the division sign. These are the instructions that tell you, or a computer, what to do with the numbers that are on either side. So now that you have the instructions and you have the numbers, you can come up with the appropriate answer. However, you do need to keep in mind that when some things change, the answers will change. So if you change the operator, you change the answer. So again, mathematical operators tell a computer what to do with the numbers on either side. And that's important to remember because Boolean operators work the same way except with words. Boolean operators tell a computer how to search for the words that are on either side. So these are some of the most common Boolean operators. AND brings things together. What AND does is it tells the computer to look for the words on either side, and if they exist in the same document, in the same container, then it winds up in your search results. If only one of them appears in an article, a paragraph, a book, whatever you're searching, if only one of them appears, it will not show up in your search results. Both of them have to be there in order to show up. AND is the most common and the most popular Boolean operator. OR will bring you more results because it will look for those words individually. They may both appear in the same document and it will show up in your search results, but they don't both have to be there. It only requires one or the other. So you tend to get more results if you're using OR. NOT is less frequently used, but it can be very effective and very powerful. So, for example, I used the example before about football. Football means different things in different places. So you could use not. So football, not American, and it would remove anything that has to do with, if American shows up with that word, it won't show up in your search results list. And then there are the quotation marks. The quotation marks keep phrases together. It kind of works the same way that AND does, except stronger, because AND will look for both things, but the quotation marks will keep those words together in that order with no other words appearing in between them. So if you're trying to be specific, if you're looking for someone's name, if you're looking for song lyrics, if you're looking for titles, you'll probably want to use the quotation marks. Or if you're searching for something, a concept that is expressed as a phrase and not a single word. And the quotation marks can be used alone by themselves, or you can combine those with other Boolean operators. And you can combine any of the Boolean operators into a search query. Just be aware that the more you add to it, the fewer results you're going to wind up with. So for example, let's say I'm looking for lions, and I'm going to combine lions with another search term using the different Boolean operators. So if I'm looking for lions and tigers, the results that I'm going to get back are going to contain both the word lions and the word tigers appearing in the same document. If I'm looking for lions or tigers, it will bring me results that are just about lions, results that are just about tigers, as well as anything that talks about both lions and tigers together in the same document. So my results for lions or tigers will include all of my results from lions and tigers, as well as anything searching for lions by itself and tigers by itself. And then there's not. So clearly, if we're looking for lions and tigers, we're probably looking for animals. However, there's also a football team referred to as the Lions. So if I know that I want lions the animal, not anything to do with football, I can search for lions, not football, and that should remove anything football related from my search results so that I don't have to weed through those myself. So you can combine Boolean operators and keywords into database and search engine searches. The keywords are the first step in constructing a good search query, so you have to have your keywords first. Once you have your keywords, you can put them together with the Boolean operators, and those work both in the library's databases as well as search engines like Google. But there is some variation between the search platforms. For example, in a database, you can use not. The way that Google uses not is a minus sign. And there are lots of places that you can look up lists of these kinds of Boolean operator shortcuts and how they work in different databases and different search engines. But please be aware that if you don't use Boolean operators, if you don't put them in yourself, as in the example before, if you just give a computer a bunch of words and you don't give it any operators, it has to guess in order to give you an answer. So the database or the search engine will insert invisible operators if you don't give it any instructions. And it will do that in between each word that you type into the search box. Most of them, including Google, will default to using and. So let's go back to our original search query. What movie from 2002 made the most money? Well, if you typed it into Google, behind the scenes, if you add the invisible operators, Google is searching for each of these words individually, and it has put and in between each and every one of them. That's not a very precise way to look for information, especially since we already know what the three keywords are. So what you can do is you can combine the keywords that we've already selected with some of the Boolean operators that we've talked about. So you use movie and 2002 and box office. But you'll notice that box office is two words, and the way that we keep those together is with quotation marks. So if you were to type movie and 2002 and box office in quotation marks, you would be able to figure out what the highest grossing movie of 2002 would be. And if you need help with this, the library is happy to help. There are three main ways that you can get to the library. You can go through My Path, look for the library tile, and then click on the link to Ashland's library at the top of the list. You can go through Blackboard. There should be a link to the library in all of your courses somewhere, but if you can't find it, on the institutional page, if you look under Student Resources, there should be a link to the eLibrary. You can also reach the library by going through ACTC's homepage if you click on Current Students and then scroll down to the library tile. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact the library. You can email us at as_library@kctcs.edu.